Can I have your attention, please? Greetings to the voters of Madawaska. I call this annual town meeting to order. All Town of Madawaska residents are asked to please check in with the ballot clerks so that you may vote. Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Do I have a motion to nominate a moderator? Do I have a second? Second. Any other nominations? Seeing none, do I have a motion to cease nominations? Pierrette, second. Okay. All those in favor of Robert Bethla as moderator, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Moderator, please come forward to be sworn in.
I, Robert Belfleur, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state so long as I remain a citizen thereof. I, Robert Belfleur, do swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent on me as moderator of this meeting according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine. Good evening. I'm not expecting anybody to get really close to me, so I'm going to take off my mask. A few items before we proceed. Number one, there's some people that may be in the library who may have questions, and the gentleman in blue over here will signal me if somebody in the library has questions, and we'll address those questions. Unless I hear objection, I propose to run this meeting in accordance with the Maine Moderator's Handbook. The votes will be taken by show of hands. As you came in, you were given green cards. Please make sure that when you do show your hand, whether it's for a yes or no vote, that you hold up that green card. Otherwise, you might not be counted. There being no objection, we'll proceed according to the Maine Moderator's Manual, and we'll proceed with a show of hands vote. Few ground rules. You may not speak until recognized by the moderator. You may not interrupt somebody who's speaking. Please stand and come to the microphone so that everybody can hear your question or what you wish to say. Questions need to be posed to the moderator. You can't start arguing amongst yourself. If you have a question, pose it to me, and I will refer it to the appropriate person. Everybody will get a chance to speak. Just put your hand up, and I'll make sure to call on you before we end discussion. If you put your hand up a second time on the same issue, I may not call on you right away. I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to speak, and then at that point, you may be allowed to speak again. Non-voters are not allowed to speak at the town meeting unless 2/3 of the voters agree to allow them to speak. Gary Picard, our town manager, is not a resident of the town of Madawaska, so I ask at this point, if Gary needs to speak, he needs your approval. So I ask for a show of hands on whether or not to allow Gary to speak at the town meeting. All those in favor of allowing our town manager to speak, raise your hand. All those opposed, lower your hand. Raise your hand. By just looking at here, it's clear that there's over 2/3 that have voted in favor of allowing Mr. Picard to speak. Let's begin. Article 2. To elect an open meeting, those officials not required to be elected by secret ballot. Financial Committee, to choose one member of the Finance Committee for a term of 3 years, position was previously held by Joel Duchesne. Library Board of Trustees, to choose one member of the Madawaska Library Board of Trustees for a term of 3 years. The position was previously held by Susan Gendreau. Do I hear any nominations for the Finance Committee? Piadet, who did you nominate? Okay, Joel Duchesne. Do I hear a second?
No, he declined.
Pardon?
He declined.
He declined. Okay, any other nominations for the Finance Committee? There being no nominations for the Finance Committee, let's move on to the Library Board of Trustees. We need to choose one member. Previously, the position was held by Susan Gendreau. Do I hear any nominations for the Library Board of Trustees? Yes, sir. Who are you nominating? Susan Gendreau. A second? Is Susan Gendreau here? Are you Ms. Gendreau? Do you wish to accept the position? Does she say yes? Yes, okay. Susan Gendreau is willing to accept the position. Do I have a second for that nomination? Any discussion or any further nominations for the Library Board of Trustees? Any discussion regarding Ms. Gendreau's nomination to the Library Board of Trustees? There being no other discussion, all those in favor of approving Susan Gendreau as to be a trustee on the Library Board, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Susan Gendreau is elected to the board. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $264,500 to the road project reserve account. The current balance is $62,088.68. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 3 as read? Ms. Piadet. A second? Your name, sir? Any discussion regarding Article 3? There being no discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 3 passes. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $5,000 to the Recreation Facilities Reserve account. The current balance is $5,000. This article is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 4 as read? Sir? And do I hear a second? Okay. Any discussion regarding Article 4? All those in favor of accepting Article 4 as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 4 passes. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to reappropriate $200,000 for the Ambulance Equipment Reserve account to the Public Works Greater Rebuild Reserve account. New account balance, $0. Recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 5 as read? Yes, sir. A second. The gentleman over there, Bert, I believe, huh? All those in any discussion regarding Article 5? There being no discussion, all those in favor of Article 5, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 5 passes. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $25,000 to the Public Works Equipment Reserve account. The current balance is $36,992. Article 6 is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 6 as read? Sir. Do I hear a second, Piadet? Any discussion regarding Article 6? There being no discussion or questions, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 6 passes. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $25,000 to the fire truck reserve account. The current balance is 0. Article 7 is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 7 as read? Sir. And a second. Ms. Gendreau? Any discussion or questions regarding Article 7? There being no questions or discussion involving Article 7, all those in favor of Article 7, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 7 passes. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $40,000 to the Fire Department Capital Repairs Reserve Account. The current balance is $31,527. All of this Article 8 is recommended by the Finance Committee and by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 8 as read? Do you have the motion? And a second? I got a hard time with names anyways, and I can't recognize anybody with the masks on. So please identify yourself when you make a motion or you do a second. Not only for my benefit, but for the people keeping a record. Any discussion regarding Article 8? Any questions regarding Article 8? All those in favor of Article 8, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 8 passes. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $44,300 to the Emergency Generator Transfer Switch Reserve Account. New account current balance is $0. Article 9 is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 9 as read? Piatis. And a second. Ma'am? Is there any discussion or questions regarding Article 9? Yes, ma'am. Please come to the microphone. Please come to the microphone.
But I don't understand what that's for. Can you explain?
Gary?
So what that is, that's for if we were to have a townwide emergency, our center is the elementary school, but we don't have the right transfer switch that automatic that will transfer power from the generator from standard power to the generator. So we need to make this repair. We're putting it in a reserve account to draw the funds from when we do the project.
I guess I get what generator is. I'm not familiar with the process of how
Yeah,
it went down, but that's okay.
yeah, we have the generator. It's just a transfer switch and the installation to put that in. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments regarding Article 9? Yes, sir. Please come to the microphone.
You're telling me a transfer switch is going to cost $44,000?
Gary?
We did get some budget pricing for that. If the article does pass, what we're going to do is go to a competitive pricing on that, hopefully to get that number down. But to have a number for this process here, we've got some pricing, and it's in that vicinity, yes. That's the price that we got.
So you're talking, I'm not an electrician, but you're talking about a switch, just a plain switch?
No,
Like
it's
the switches we do in the house when we put our generator on?
no, it's
Connect to the main public?
It's a bigger transfer switch that happens when we do that. So, is Jim's the fire chief is here, who takes care of our emergency operations. So, if we wanted to have Jim come up and speak to that,
Yes, you may.
okay, Jim, can you come up?
Jim
Susi.
Jim Susi is recognized.
Yeah, the generator up at the school pushes out 1,200 amps of power. This generator can run probably half the town. It's a big generator. It's not a household generator. And the switch that we're we're looking at is a switch that will go automatically from no power to power the generator to power the school. The school is also set up for Red Cross, which has been there for quite a few years, but we've never had the generator set up as a switch. We have a switch now, a manual switch, but you manually have to go there and shut off the main power and turn on the generator power. And I don't want to be the guy over there to put that on and something isn't right, because I'm probably not, something bad can happen. We need an automatic switch to switch this over. So that's what the switch is for.
Any additional questions or comments regarding Article 9? There being no further questions or comments on Article 9, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 9 passes. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $43,750 to the MDOT 2021 Sidewalk Project Match Reserve Account. The current balance is $19,872. Explanation. The 2021 Town MDOT Sidewalk Project is approved listed in the MDOT 3-year work plan. The project is an 80% MDOT/20% town cost share. The town's estimated share, or the town's share estimated to be $130,000. Article 10 is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 10 as read? Yes, sir. And a second. The gentleman in back, your name? Any discussion or questions regarding Article 10? There being no discussion or questions regarding Article 10, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 10 passes. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $50,000 to the Safety Complex Roof Replacement Project Reserve Account. New account current balance is $0. The Article 11 is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 11 as read? Mr. Susi? And a second. Mrs. Susi. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 11? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 11, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 11 passes. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the following general fund estimated revenue sources to be used towards fiscal year 2020-2021 budget appropriations, thereby decreasing the amount required to be raised in property tax. Veterans exemption, $6,000. Interest and penalties, $21,500. Tree growth exemption, $6,500. Municipal revenue sharing, $582,935. Pilot La Maison Acadienne, $20,000. Vehicle excise taxes, $700,000. Boat excise taxes, $2,000. Motor vehicle fee, $12,000. VRF administration, $20,000. Pollution control administration, $42,500. General assistance reimbursement, $5,000. Building permits, $2,000. Plumbing permits, $1,000. CEO contracted services, $9,000. Ambulance billing fees, $375,000. Ambulance contract with Friendsville, $13,000 for year one of a 3-year contract. Ambulance contract with St. Agatha, $9,400 for year one of a 3-year contract. Ambulance contract with Grand Isle, $8,067 for year one of a 3-year contract. Contracted fire protection, $1,000. Fuel tax refund, $5,000. Local road assistance program, LRAP, $82,000. Tent rentals, $2,500. Multi-purpose building rentals, $2,000. Insurance premium refund, $5,000. Recommended by the Finance Committee, $1,933,402, which is also recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 12 as read? Mr. Susi, do I hear a second? Gentleman over there. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 12? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 12, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 12 passes. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to reappropriate the following reserve accounts to be used as revenue sources to be used towards fiscal year 2020 and 2021 budget appropriations, thereby decreasing the amount required to be raised in property tax. Health Reserve Account, $5,761. Town Office Feasibility Study, $20,000. Town 150th Reserve Account, $510. Ambulance Equipment Reserve Account, $50,000. Total transfer from reserve, $76,271. Article 13 is recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 13 as read? Mrs. Susi, do I hear a second? Gentleman in the orange shirt. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 13? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 13, raise your right hand. Just raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 13 passes. Article 14, to see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the general government departments, government body, town administration, general assistance, municipal building elections. The amount recommended by the selectmen and the Finance Committee is $667,087. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 14 as read? Gentleman over there. And do I hear a second? Mr. Plourd. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 14? Here. Okay. There is a person in the library who wishes to speak.
Mr. Moderator, am I recognized? Mr. Moderator, am I recognized?
You are recognized.
All right, thank you. My name is Andrew Duby. I've been a lifelong citizen of Madawaska for many years. So, essentially here, this last year with COVID, it's been exceptionally difficult for all of us. The year before, we had a massive tax increase. And this year, we see a slight reduction, but the budget has still actually increased. As those of us in an aging community with aging parents and people living on fixed incomes, we have individuals with prices going up on their prescriptions, on their heating costs, on their house taxes, as well as their food. We have individuals that are choosing between rationing their medications, between skipping a meal in the day, or heating their home to a lower temperature, and then deciding whether or not they need to pay their taxes or sell their home. I look at this budget line item here and I get sticker shock. It seems remarkably excessive. I believe that it would be in the best interest of the people for us to be bold. Make a bold statement today. Here is a people that we will no longer tolerate this. I suggest a 50% cut to the administrative budget, totaling over $333,000. I make a motion at this point in time that we consider this reduction in the administrative budget by secret ballot. Thank you.
Did you make a motion to amend? What's the motion to amend? The gentleman has made a motion to amend Article 14 to provide for a 50% cut in the budget that would result in the amount being appropriated being $333,000. He's made a motion. Do I hear a second for that motion? The gentleman in the back. Any discussion or questions regarding the amendment, not the motion, not the general motion, but the amendment. The amendment is to reduce the request from $667,87 to $333,000. Mr. Dubé, you're recognized.
For clarification, I'd like to know basically what this entails and what does it cover? Which costs are being covered exactly over here? We're seeing the titles, but I don't see the numbers here. I didn't get a chance to look at the packet. If somebody could clarify that for me.
Mr. Picard is recognized.
So those numbers are actually in the budget. If you look through the town report, you'll see those numbers broken down for each of those departments that are put into that general government budget. So to answer your question, in the governing body, we have. Can you give them a page number? We get a page number on that? So thank you. So in the governing body, you see the number there. It's proposed is $57,625. The next one is town administration, page 92. Proposed $495,138. The next one in there is general assistance. That's page 93, $23,091. Following one is municipal building, page 94, $76,970. And the last one in that category is on page 95, which is, hold on here, elections, $14,262 on page 96. Yeah. Okay. Doug, did you want to talk about?
Mr. Dubé, had you finished your point? Okay, I recognize Doug Sear.
Folks of Madawaska, this is nothing but a vindictive personal attack on our administration. These people work tirelessly, day in and day out, representing you folks. If you are to follow this amendment, you are technically shutting the town down completely. Not just that department, but every department. You cannot operate that town with that kind of a budget that we're talking about. We're coming through a coronavirus pandemic era. We're fighting tooth and nail to try to recover any funds for this community. If you've noticed through some of these articles this evening, we are putting money back into some of our reserve accounts. We're prepared to tell you that we're going to be close to $500,000 in reduction in taxes tonight. You're seeing improvements throughout the town. Some of the buildings that you've seen come down, some of the parks that you've seen come up, you're about to see the blue sky come down shortly, within this year. We're able to bring Twin Rivers back to the table, which is a major, major issue for you folks. We've been dealing with Twin Rivers for years, and to try to bring them to the table, to look at the taxes that they're paying. Agreements had been made with them in 2013 that were really when they were in a bankrupt scenario. So we were helping them, but they held us to that agreement till now. We now have gotten the word from the lawyers that they want to sit with us. Other changes that are coming. You're seeing a bridge coming into town very shortly. You're going to see the Kmart parking lot revamped. We're going to do a lot of work there. All good for this town. And yet, we have people here that are ready to tear it down. And I'm just sick and tired of having to deal with this. It's putting us on the back seat every time that we try to move forward. I see no reason to carry this amendment forward. Thank you.
Mr. Plord, you're recognized.
I've attended a few meetings this year with our selectmen and the finance committee. I've also listened to some of these meetings on TV. And let me assure you, both the finance committee and our board of selectmen have most likely at least dropped 10% to my knowledge on every article that you see on page 125 here. 10% is a lot. Both boards are doing the best that they can, and that's the way this, I recommend that we approve this and not approve the motion.
The question at issue now is whether or not to amend Article 14 to read recommended by the Finance Committee as a $330,000 rather than $667,087. Any further discussion on the amendment? Now, we vote on the amendment. If once discussion is done, we vote on the amendment. If the amendment passes, then we vote on the main article as amended. So the first issue is, do we or don't we amend Article 14? Is there any further discussion on amending Article 14? Yes, somebody from the library would like to speak? You're recognized.
Ladies and gentlemen of Madawaska, the chair will have you believe that there is plenty of development going on. They just raised your taxes last year by nearly $3, and they're going to reduce it this year by 50 cents. Not $1, not $2. They're not making any concessions whatsoever. To consider 50 cents an accomplishment, that is not what it is. It is a concession. So just remember that as you sit at your table worrying about your mother's Social Security check, whether or not you can pay their meds, whether or not that they can heat the house to 68 degrees, whether or not that we want to see us spend our money as we desire. We're told, tighten your belt, tighten your belt, tighten your belt. And we have, and we've tightened it enough. And as taxpayers, you are continuously reaching into our pockets and telling us what to do with our money. This isn't okay anymore. At some point in time, the citizens of this town must stand up and say enough is enough. Folks, 2 parks is not going to bring in $2 million budgetary shortfall. Sacrifices must be made on the side of the town, and those who work for the town and organize the town. We have sacrificed enough. The people of this town have sacrificed enough. Do not buy into ad hominem attacks that this is somehow a vendetta. This is common sense. These are your lives. This is your money. You earned it. Your money that you earned. And they will reach into your pocket and take more and more and more. Today's the day. Say enough is enough. You can function on half the budget, and they'll be able to do it. We have smart people that are hired to work for this town. They'll figure it out. I see this out of respect. I own a home, okay, and I am trying to get by. And what happens? Tax bills come along, and guess what I'm doing? I'm determining whether or not I need to ration my medications. I have seizures. So, I mean, if we're going to act like somehow you see this excessive growth and everything's doing great, don't believe that. Enough wishful thinking. Reality is here. We are in the midst of a pandemic. Prices are going up, and there's just a continuous, nonstop beating on us as the taxpayers to take more and more and more. You took $3 last year. 50 cents is not an accomplishment. It is a concession. Thank you.
Question on the floor. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for general governmental departments. The amendment is to change $667,087 to approximately $33,000, 50%. Any further discussion on the amendment? There being no further discussion, all those in favor of amending Article 14 to provide for $330,000, raise your hand. All those opposed to the amendment, raise your hand. The amendment fails. Question on the floor is now, the original article is read, where the amount recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $667,087. Any further questions? Yes, sir. You're recognized.
So you acknowledge the people in this room. Did you acknowledge the people in the other room for the votes?
Let's have a view of the other room on the amendment. How many people in the library? How many? Six. Even if the 6 voted for the amendment, they would still fail. The overwhelming numbers are against them, so the amendment fails. Article 14. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the general government departments, government body, town administration, general assistance, municipal billing and elections. The recommended amount by the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee is $667,087. Any further discussion? There being no further discussion or questions, all those in favor of accepting the article as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. I'd also like to see the library, how they voted. All those in favor in the library, raise your hand. All those opposed in the library, raise your hand. Article 14 passes as read. Article 15. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for development, codes, and assessing department. The amount recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $229,649. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 15 as read? Yes, sir. A second. Mr. Gendreau. Not Mr. Gendreau, that's Desjardins. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 15? Yes, ma'am, in red.
Hi, in the last meeting, wasn't there, we were gonna cost share with Caribou and the county for the code enforcement? And how would that affect this budget line?
Mr. Garrett Picard will speak on that matter.
So right now, we are already well into our budget year. Okay, so we're already we're in October, and our fiscal year starts July 1. We are that way because we are under continuing resolution because of COVID. We do have an agreement with the regional assessing office that comes through the county for assessing moving forward. Part of this is also the community development budget. So we have an agreement in the interim with Northern Maine Development to provide CDBG services until we fill our vacant CDBG economic development person. So the budget is essentially the same because we do plan to fill that position there.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions or discussion regarding Article 15? There being no further questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 15, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 15 passes. Article 16, to see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for public safety. That is the ambulance department, police department, fire department, EMA department. The recommendation of the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $1,432,856. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 16 as read? Yes, Bert? A second. Lady in red? Any discussions or questions regarding Article 16? There being no questions or discussion regarding Article 16, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 16 passes. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Madawaska Public Library. The Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee both recommend the sum of $107,370. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 17 as read? Yes, Ms. Gendreau. And second, the lady in front of her. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 17? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Oh, what? Yes. Okay, and I'm going to ask again for the people in the library, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Okay, Article 17 passes. Article 18. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for Public Works Department. The amount recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $1,179,687. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 18 as read? Gentleman over there. And do I hear a second? Monsieur Dubé. Any discussion? Any questions regarding Article 18? All those in favor of accepting Article 18 as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 18 passes. Article 19. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for Parks, Recreation, Maintenance, and Safety Complex Department. The amount recommended by both the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $474,077. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 19 as read? Pierre Soucy, a second. The gentleman in the check shirt and back. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 19? All those in favor of Article 19, raise your hand. All those opposed to Article 19, raise your hand. Article 19 passes. Article 20. To see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for town-wide insurance. The recommended amount by both the Finance and Board of Selectmen is $154,400. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 20 as read? Mr. Plourde, and a second. A gentleman in the green jacket. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 20? All those in favor of Article 20, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 20 passes. Article 21, to see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for intergovernmental department. The recommended amount by both the Finance and the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $870,200. $981. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 21 as read? Piatet Susi, a second. Gentleman in the orange shirt. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 21? Yes, Mr. Plourd, you recognized?
I didn't get a chance. Explain intergovernmental department.
Gary Michaud, Picard, I mean.
So the intergovernmental includes all of the sub-businesses of the town, such as like Valley Recycling Facility, 470, hold on here, $470,000. Northern Aroostook Regional Airport, $58,161. Hydrant rental, and that's to the Water District, $288,000. Our streetlights, $21,000. Maine Municipal Association, $8,517. Chamber of Commerce, Chamber, I'll take that back. The $8,517 is Northern Maine Development Commission. Maine Municipal Association, $4,303. The Chamber of Commerce, $15,000. Four Seasons, $4,000. And the Farmers Market, $2,000. Okay.
Any further questions or discussion regarding Article 21? There being no further questions or discussion regarding Article 21, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 21 passes. Article 22, to see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for social services. The amount recommended by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $21,465. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 22 as read? The gentleman in the green jacket. And a second? The lady in the red shirt. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 22? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 22, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 22 passes. Article 23, to see what sum of money, if any, the town will vote to raise and appropriate for debt service. The amount recommended by both the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $496,204. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 23 as read? Piatet Susi. And a second, a gentleman in the green jacket. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 23? There being none, all those in favor of Article 23, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 23 passes. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to ratify the pollution control, sewer operation and maintenance, O&M, and debt service budget in the amount of $939,487, and further authorize the Board of Selectmen to determine the due date for sewer bill payments and to set a rate of interest at 8% per annum on the unpaid balance of sewer bills. The recommended amount by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen is $939,487. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 24 as read? Piatet Susi. A second, a lady right behind the guy in the orange shirt. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 24? Yes, a gentleman in the gray shirt, way in the back.
Mike Fortin, I'd like to make a motion to decrease the interest rate from 8 to 5%.
Your motion is what again?
Decrease the interest rate from 8% to 5.
Decrease interest 5% to 8%. Okay, I gather your motion. The only part of the article that you wish to change is a rate of interest at 5% per annum rather than 8% per annum.
Yes.
Does that correctly state your motion, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second for a motion to amend Article 24 to change the reading from 8% penalty or interest on the unpaid balance to 5%? Do I hear a second for that motion? Yes, Mr. Dubé. Any discussion regarding Article 24, the amendment of Article 24? Yes, the gentleman with the black hat.
Aaron Sear. Thing is this department, sorry, I'm probably pretty loud. The department, the funding for that department comes from the taxpayers, if I'm not mistaken. So any loans that are applied for, we end up paying as taxpayers for it. So salaries, everything is paid in full by the taxpayers. The reason why I think it's a good idea to drop it down to 5 is if we're already paying for it as it is, why are we going to pay more for something that we're already paying for to begin with? It's not like it's added stress to whoever is working in the office to change it from one to the other. That's it.
Gary Picard would like to respond to that.
The pollution control budget is an enterprise budget. It's a business in and of itself. All operations are paid for by sewer fees, not property taxes. So true that you have taxpayers paying sewer fees, but it's not true that property taxes are paying for the sewer budget. All the funds that operate the sewer are derived from sewer fees, not property taxes.
Sir, do you wish to be recognized again? Please come to the microphone.
All right, so it's one of those catch-22s. I understand that it's quote-unquote fees. It's just a slippery slope of another way of calling it taxes. But the thing is when that department needs funds from the taxpayers, if there was an article in here that we had to vote for, let's say for X amount of dollars, that's tax dollars that are paying for them to be able to add and do different things to that department. The way they make their money back, yes, is through the fees, but ultimately it's the taxpayers that make the decision on how much money is allocated or appropriated for that department. I may be wrong, but I've been here a few times where we're voting on X amount of dollars for that department, and yes, it's the user's fees that pay for it, but it's taxpayers that are paying for it.
The question on the floor is the amendment of Article 24 to read 5% rather than 8% as interest on the unpaid balance. Is there any further discussion or questions regarding the amendment? There being no further questions or discussion, the article on the floor is Article 24, and it reads the same as what I read a while ago, except the last line, to set the rate of interest at 5% per annum on the unpaid balance of sewer bills. All those in favor of accepting the amendment to Article 24, providing for 5% rather than 8% interest, raise your hand. All those opposed to accepting the amendment to Article 24, raise your hand. Okay. The amendment to Article 24 does not pass. Article 24 continues to read 8% per annum on the unpaid balance. Is there any further questions regarding Article 24, with the 8% per annum unpaid balance on the sewer bills. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 24? All those in favor of Article 24 with 8% per annum on the unpaid balance, raise your hand. All those opposed to Article 24, raise your hand. Article 24 passes. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to ratify funds collected from membership donations and other non-property tax revenues to fund and operate the community gym. This article is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 25 as read? Yes, Ms. Gendreau, and second? The lady with the red jacket. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 25? There being no discussion or questions, all those in favor of accepting Article 25 as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 25 passes. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen at their discretion to accept gift donations of money and other valuables, including real property or land, from individuals, other governmental bodies, or other organizations, providing the gifts do not obligate the town in any way, and that such donations do not exceed a maximum gift amount of $100,000 during any fiscal year. Article 26 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 26 as read? Yes, sir. Your name? Thank you. And do I hear a second? Yes, the gentleman in the green jacket. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 26? Yes, Mr. Plourde. I'll get you later.
This article mean that if somebody donates a house that's dilapidated and they give it to the town, is that what this involves? In other words, and then it's going to cost you $20,000 to tear it down?
So Mr. Picard will address that.
This article merely authorizes the board to accept donations at their discretion, and every town has to have an article to accept from the legislative body in a town in this kind of government that we have here. We need to go to the voters to get that authorization. The board at their discretion would have the authority to accept donations, be it monetary or real property, land, buildings, or other valuables. This is a reoccurring article from year to year.
The gentleman in the gray shirt way in the back, I recognize him.
Mike Porton, last year, this same type of article was passed, and there was supposed to be a list of gifts published, accepted by the board. Where is it? Was there any gifts donated to the town? Mr. Chassis swore that if the board accepted any type of donation, it would be on a list and would be published.
This board did not accept any donations. There were no donations.
So last year's board didn't take anything. Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion regarding Article 26? All those in favor of accepting Article 26 as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 26 passes. Article 27, to see if the town will authorize a treasurer under the direction of the Board of Selectmen to sell and or dispose of any property acquired through the tax lien mortgage foreclosure process after first offering the property to the previous owner for payment of all back taxes, fees, and interests on such terms as they deem advisable and in the best interest of the town, and to sign and execute municipal quitclaim deeds on such property, except that if the Board of Selectmen sell property tax acquired, if they sell property tax acquired from certain qualified seniors, low-income taxpayer, they shall use the sale proceeds required by Title 36 MRSA, Section 943-C, if they sell such property to anyone other than the former owners. This article is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 27 as read? Pierre Susi, do I hear a second? The gentleman in the green jacket. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 27? There being no questions or discussion regarding Article 27, all those in favor of that article, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 27 passes. Article 28, to see if the town will authorize a treasurer under the direction of the Board of Selectmen to sell and/or dispose of any property acquired by sewer lien after first offering the property to the previous owner for payment of all back taxes, fees, and interest on such terms as deemed advisable and in the best interest of the town, and to sign and execute municipal quitclaim deeds on such property. Article 28 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 28 as read? Mr. Susi. And do I hear a second? Madam in the red jacket. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 28? The gentleman in the black hat.
Just a quick question. So I was just told that the sewer department is basically its own entity, that it doesn't deal with taxpayer dollars. So why is it that, to see if the town will authorize the treasurer, if it's a department of its own, and it doesn't run off of taxpayer dollars and it runs off of fees, why do we have the treasurer dealing with everything that's stated in this article?
Gary Picard.
Thank you. So you'll notice back in the revenue part article, earlier in this warrant, that the town is paid an administration fee of, I think, $42,500 to charge the pollution control facility for the administration of the pollution control, which includes budgeting process, liens, discharge of liens, billing. All the admin services of the pollution control department are basically paid for by the pollution control department to the town of Madawaska. So we actually show a revenue for this service that was approved in the previous article. And just to add to that, the board, they are the trustees of the pollution control department. This Board of Selectmen governs at the behest of these you folks as taxpayers in this municipality.
Any further discussion regarding Article 28 or any further questions? There being no further questions or discussion regarding Article 28, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 28 passes. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to set the date that real and personal property taxes for fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 will be due and payable by March 15, 2021, and to fix the rate of interest at 8% per annum to be charged on the unpaid accounts beginning March 16th, 2021. Article 29 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 29 as read? Man in the green jacket. Second, Pierre Susi. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 29? Yes, a gentleman in the gray shirt in the back. I understand your motion is changing the second to the last line to fix the rate of interest at 5% rather than 8%. The rest of the article remains the same, is that correct? Okay. A motion's been made by the gentleman. Is there a second for that motion? Yes, the gentleman in black hat. The second's been made. The article on the floor, the amendment on the floor, is to change Article 29 to read a rate of interest of 8% per annum to a rate of interest of 5% per annum. The motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion regarding the amendment of Article 28? There being no discussion or questions regarding the amendment to Article 28, the amendment is to change the interest rate from 8% to 5%. All of those people in favor of changing the interest rate from 8% to 5%, raise your hand. All those opposed to changing the interest rate from 8% to 5%, raise your hand. Okay. A gentleman's motion or amendment to change the article from 8% to 5% fails. Now the article on the floor, the question on the floor is Article 29 in its original version of 8%. Is there any further discussion regarding Article 29? Excuse me. There being no further discussion, all those in favor of accepting Article 29 as read, please raise your hand. All those opposed to accepting Article 29 as read, raise your hand. Article 29 passes. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to authorize to set the date that sewer user bills for the fiscal year of July 1, 2020 to June 30th of 2001 will be due and payable on March 15, 2021, and to fix the rate of interest at 8% per annum to be charged on the unpaid amount beginning March 16th, 2021. There appears to be an ambiguity in this. Part of the article reads March 15th, part of the article reads March 16th. No, there's no ambiguity, I'm sorry, I'm misreading it. It's due and payable on March 15th, and then interest begins on March 16th, just like the prior article. Let me go over Article 30 again. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to set the date that the sewer user bills for fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 will be due and payable by March 15, 2021, and to fix the rate of interest at 8% per annum to be charged on unpaid amounts beginning March 16th of 2021. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 30 as read? Okay. Piaret. And a second, Mr. Susi. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 30? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of accepting Article 30 as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 30 passes. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell or otherwise dispose of surplus-owned town personal property on such terms and conditions as they deemed advisable. The article is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 31 as read? The gentleman in the green jacket. And a second, the gentleman in black over there. Name, please. Article 31 has been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 31? There being no discussion or questions, all those in favor of Article 31, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 31 passes. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer with the advice and consent of the Board of Selectmen to transfer funds received from the state of Maine for the 2020-2021 snowmobile registration funds to the Madawaska Snowmobile Club for the purpose of maintaining their snowmobile trails. Article 32 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 32? Mr. Susi, and a second, Mr. Plourd. Any discussion regarding Article 32? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of accepting Article 32, please raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 32 passes. Article 33, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town manager with the advice and consent of the Board of Selectmen to apply for snowmobile trail grants from the state of Maine on behalf of the Madawaska Snowmobile Club to maintain trails and to transfer such funds to the Madawaska Snowmobile Club. The article is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 33 as read? Mr. Plourd, do I hear a second? Gentlemen, keep your hand up a second. Okay. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 33? All those in favor of Article 33 as read, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 33 passes. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town manager with the advice and consent of the Board of Selectmen to apply for ATV trail grants from the state of Maine on behalf of the Madawaska ATV Club to maintain trails and transfer such funds to the Madawaska ATV Club. Article 34 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 34 as read? Mr. Susi, and a second. Gentleman, Mike, is that Mike? Article has been motioned and seconded. Any questions or discussion regarding Article 34? There being no questions or discussion regarding Article 34, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 34 passes. Article 35, to see if the town will vote to credit the police department receipts to include all fees and fines, parking violations, 25% of campsite rental fees, sex offender fees, dog violation fees, court officer / witness for service fees reimbursed by the state, and all funds received from the Department of Justice and other state and governmental agencies as restitution to the Police Car Reserve Fund, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to draw from the Police Car Reserve Funds as may be deemed necessary to purchase a police vehicle and/or police equipment. Article 35 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 35 as read? Bert Lachance, and a second, Madam in red. Do I hear any questions or discussion regarding Article 35? There being no questions or discussion regarding Article 35, all those in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Article 35 passes. Article 36, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen on the behalf of the town to apply for federal, state, and private foundation grant funds for various projects to benefit the town, such as for housing, roads, or generally economic and community development purpose, and to further authorize the Selectmen to accept and expend such grant funds for their intended purpose only, providing that the grants do not obligate the town to provide matching funds or other contributions that have not been previously approved by the voters. Article 36 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 36 as read? Madam in red. And a second, Ken Terrio. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 36? Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on the private foundations?
Gary Picard will address that.
Excuse me, what was the question again?
Can you elaborate on private foundation?
Private foundations, if there were different foundations that we would find that we could probably apply for some funding for different, some different efforts, be it, you know, sometimes foundation, we can apply on behalf of an organization, and we would serve as a pass-through for those funds, and sometimes we could apply to foundations for projects and things that are going on for, like philanthropy, so this just authorizes that. We've not gotten any.
So do you have any examples of where we've gotten funds from a private foundation?
We have, not since I've been here, and I don't have any recollection of having received funds from foundations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions or discussions regarding Article 36? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 36, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 36 passes. Article 37, shall the town of Madawaska vote to approve 2020-2021 community development block applications for the following: micro enterprise program, housing assistance program, downtown revitalization program, business assistance program, economic development fund loan program, public infrastructure program, Maine Department of Conservation Recreation Trails program, Maine DOT Safe Routes to School program, Maine DOT Quality Program, Quality Community Program, STK Foundation Grant, USDA Rural Development Programs, Maine's COPS Hiring Program, Federal Emergency Management Grant, FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grants, grant.gov/-EMS Program, Maine Community Foundation, Economic Development Administration, Northern Borders Regional Commission, DECD Business Friendly, and to submit the same to the Department of Economic and Community Development and/or USDA Rural Development and/or Maine DOT and/or Maine DOC and/or Maine Community Foundation and/or ST Foundation, and if said program is approved, to authorize the municipal officers to accept said grant funds, to make such assurances, assume such responsibilities, and exercise such authority as are necessary and reasonable to implement such programs, and fund our local matching share through unappropriated reserves and/or in-kind services. Article 37 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 37 as read? Your name, please? And a second. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Verna. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 37? There being no discussion or questions regarding Article 37, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 37 passes. Article 38, to see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer under the direction of the Board of Selectmen to sell a piece of land located in Frenchville, Maine, found on Tax Map 11, Lot 13D at the Frenchville Town Office, and as described in the warranty deed conveyed to the inhabitants of the municipality of Madawaska by Gerald and Bernadette Thibault, dated October 28, 1985, and recorded in the Northern Aroostook Registry Deeds in Book 661, page 156. The term of the sale will be by sealed bids with an established minimum bid price of $40,000 in U.S. funds, in addition to closing and legal costs to be paid by the winning bidder. Sealed bids will be received and opened by the Board of Selectmen at a future Board of Selectmen meeting. Proceeds from the sale of the property are described in this article, as described in this article, would be set aside in a Public Works Capital Equipment Reserve account. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 38 as read? Gentleman in the green jacket, and a second. Your name, sir? Did you get that? Any questions or discussion regarding Article 38? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 38, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 38 passes. Article 39, to see if the town will vote to release, Article 39, to see if the town will vote to authorize its Board of Selectmen to release without consideration to Philip S. Clavette, his successors and assigns, an abandoned sewer easement which is located at 170 Main Street, Tax Map 5, Lot 161 in Madawaska, Maine. Article 39 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 39 as read? Gentleman in the green jacket, and a motion. Mr. Desjardins, any questions or discussion regarding Article 39? There being no questions or discussion, all those in favor of Article 39, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 39 passes. Article 40, to see if the town will vote to authorize its Board of Selectmen to release without consideration to the United States of America and its assigns an abandoned sewer line easement which is located at 93 Vital Drive, Tax Map 5, Lot 162 in Madawaska, Maine. The article is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 40 as read? Gentleman in a green jacket, and do I hear a second? Mr. Susi. Any questions or discussion involving Article 40? There being no questions or discussion regarding Article 40, all those in favor of Article 40, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 40 passes. Article 41, to see if the town of Madawaska will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to borrow an amount of money not to exceed $3 million plus interest for a period of 10 years at the best terms available for the purpose of road repair and paving project. Said project would commence in 2021. Article 41 is recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 41 as read? A gentleman in the black up in front. And a second, lady with the red jacket. Article 41 has been moved and seconded. Do I hear any discussion or any questions regarding Article 41? Mr. Plourd.
This article appeared maybe at the last meeting or 2 years ago. I'm assuming nothing happened, nothing was done, nothing was dispensed.
Gary?
Thank you. So, yes, it was authorized in the previous town meeting warrant. It authorized the board. The article authorized the board to move ahead with a paving project. Then COVID happened in March, and we were told from the state of Maine that, you know, all the game was, as far as revenue was concerned, was a big unknown. So the board at the time, and I shared the concern with them that going out and borrowing money without any indication of what the revenue picture was going to be, with like revenue sharing from the state of Maine, was something that nobody felt like they could move forward. So we waited, just like this town meeting, we waited for the numbers to come in from the state of Maine, the revenue numbers, so we understood, get a better picture of what the overall picture is from the expense side and the revenue side. And with that said, I think the board looked at the project as a whole. They changed the length of the loan down. They didn't change the scope of the project. It's still a $3 million project. And this project would start next year, and the borrowing would only take place in the following tax commitment year, so we wouldn't incur debt. You wouldn't see an installment on this loan in this tax commitment that we're working on right now. It's only going to be on the next one.
And the list that was produced last year of all the different streets, the length and the width, does that still exist?
That's our planning document, and there was estimates in there, but yes, that's the same list that we're going off.
Is there a reason why the Finance Committee, there's no mention of them on this?
Just that we discussed it as a board. I don't know that we thought about putting it before the Finance Committee.
Well, there's a dollar amount. When there's a dollar amount, doesn't the Finance Committee have to say so on this?
They could, yes.
So are you telling me it's not recommended by them?
No, the Finance Committee did not act on this, so it's not that they recommended or did not recommend. They did not act on this article.
Was it brought to them, or
Pardon?
was it brought up to them?
We talked about it, but it's not something that they acted upon. But I think through our discussions with them, this is something that they supported.
Well, I find it funny that their names are not on there. Because every other article, when there's money involved, seems to me they reviewed it, they either accept it or not.
Okay.
Any further discussion or questions regarding Article 41? There being no further discussion or questions, all those in favor of Article 41, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 41 passes. Article 42. To see if the town will vote to change its main state retirement plan for eligible police officers effective November 1, 2020 for future services only. The town agrees to provide Special Plan 3C to its police officers who work more than 20 hours per week and who are not seasonally or temporarily as defined in the appendix of Maine PERS Rule Chapter 802, copy attached, for service rendered after June 30th, 2020. Service rendered prior to July 1, 2020 remains under Regular Plan AC. Continue to provide Regular Plan AC to all employees who work more than 20 hours per week and who are not seasonal or temporary as defined by the appendix of Maine PERS Rule Chapter 802, and to its elected/appointed officials. All other part-time, seasonal, or temporary employees are excluded from participating in the program. To authorize Board of Selectmen Chairman Doug Sear to sign the amended agreement between the town and Maine Public Employees Retirement System. Do I hear a motion to accept Article 42 as read? Mr. Soucy, and the second, Bert Lachance. Any discussion or questions regarding Article 42? There being no questions or discussion regarding Article 42, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Article 42 passes. It's my understanding that Article 43 is not a necessary article at the town meeting because the conditions that would have triggered it have not occurred. The tax commitment is not over the threshold that requires us to do Article 43. So, since we don't need to do Article 43, I'd recommend a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, sir. And Mr. Soucy, second. All those in favor of adjournment, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Meeting is adjourned.
Good job.
Thank you.